the amount of situations that we have happen where scopes go way out of gamut, right? And so this week I actually wanted to talk about, you have a current client that is asking for some of those changes, adaptations, differences, and new things that are ultimately out of scope. And so the goal for this situation and for this training is for you to be able to have a bit of a framework of how to have the conversation with them, that ultimately there needs to be a cost change and how to manage the objections should they actually have an objection to it. So the situation we have happen is ultimately clients ask for things all the time, right? And let's face it, they don't understand the industry like you do, right? They're not marketing agency owners. They are not creatives, the vast majority of them, and recognition ultimately that they are not in this industry and they don't understand it. And so for you, you end up in this place where you are unsure of whether you should change it. You feel like, hey, it's a small little thing potentially, and that you should just do it to be a good partner, right? But this is a huge mistake, and that you are not holding a boundary. Extremely important. I'm going to repeat that. You are not holding your boundary firm, and you are not respecting yourself. So the opportunity is to actually have a framework to have the conversation. The thing that I think is really important here to recognize, and I have this happen, this thought process with loads of agencies come up, of the concept of, hey, I'm trying to be a good partner. I'm even trying to be a friend. I'm trying to be helpful. And I want to hit that really hard here. In no instance, none, and I understand asking for favors and asking for help, but you're doing a job, right? And this is a business for you. I want you to think about going into a friend's store, a tangible store, buying a physical product. Would you ask them to just take that item for free and walk away? Would that be something you'd be okay with? Your local store that you have a great relationship with, even a close friend, would that be something you'd be okay with? Would you feel comfortable doing that? Would that store be okay with you doing it? Because that product has a cost to them, right? And it's absolutely no different for you. You have team members that have a cost. Your time has a cost, both in your own payroll as well as the opportunity cost that you have. And I want to hit this very hard, and I understand that this feels a little rough to hear for some of you, is that they are not your friend. They are not your partner if they are asking for it for free. They're not. They are abusing you. They are taking advantage of you. And you shouldn't allow it. You should fight it, and you should hold firm on your boundary. It wouldn't work in any other instance. But somehow for you, they are willing and just taking advantage. Just taking and taking and taking. But how do you currently manage this, right? So the thing that is really important that I see happen loads is ultimately one of the things that does happen so that you can create a mindset around this where it's not really the client taking advantage, because some people just forget, and allowing for you to not have this be the situation where they don't remember what's included, they don't remember exactly how it works, and they don't know any of that. So one of the things that I suggest that weekly meeting, monthly meeting, semi-monthly meeting, quarterly meeting, however frequently you have with a client, at the top of the agenda, you have a reminder of what's included in the scope, both the inclusions and exclusions, that removes the possibility of them potentially forgetting. Just remind them. It allows for you to make sure that you've set the expectation of what exactly is included. That allows for them to understand. And then I want you here's the basic premise of what ultimately you need to do. That you need to remind them of scope and make sure that you are holding firm on that, having the boundary set firmly with them, you advise, and ultimately have trust built with them. If you don't have trust and you're not the advisor, you're not going to have it be in a good place. If someone's asking for something that's out of scope, the response should be, absolutely, we're happy to take care of that for you. Just so you know that's out of scope. So what we'll do is we'll put together what that cost will look like and send it over for you to approve. And then we can go ahead and get started on XYZ date. It's that simple. It's the same way that there's a price tag on the product in the store. You are going to do the same thing for your agency. And you're not just giving things away. You're not just opening up the door of, hey, everything goes, come and get it, right? It shouldn't be, that's not your business. That shouldn't be your business model. At least I hope it's not, unless you're a nonprofit. You need to charge for it, period. And, the way that I would think about this really, and if you run into an objection, I would turn it around on them, right? Whatever product or service they sell. If they ask, hey, I would think it was such a small thing. And there's nuance to this, right? So I don't want you to be dogmatic about my opinion here. And I'm not dogmatic about it either. But if they were to say, hey, I think it's such a simple thing, can you not just take care of it for us without a cost? Or I thought this was included. And if they say that I thought it was included, hey, I'm sorry, I should have been clear on the scope. But ultimately, no, this is not included. This is exactly what your scope includes, and this is how it functions. Then when it comes to them questioning of why it's going to be at an additional cost, the conversation then should be something along the lines of, I totally wish that we could. Unfortunately, we can't do it that way. I wish we could, and I totally understand why you would want it that way. Let me ask you this question. Whatever their product or service is, when it comes to your business, you have to charge for your product too, right? Unfortunately, it's the same for us. There's time costs that's associated. We have to pay our team members and ultimately manage this particular process for you and get it into the works within our resources. So it is something we'll have to bill for. I completely understand if this is not something that you want to move forward with, but it is something we'll have to bill for. If you want this on an ongoing basis, I'm happy to take a look at the scope. Maybe we can make adjustments, right size it of the things that you need and don't need if there's some adjustments you want to make so that it fits within your financial budget. Let me know. And just be more frank with them. Respect yourself. You need to respect yourself. No one else is going to respect you if you don't first respect yourself. It's so incredibly important. And this is a huge thing that just really just pisses me off about this industry. There's so many incredibly talented, phenomenal people that I work with that are doing just such amazing, beautiful work. And when I first meet them, they undervalue themselves. They don't respect themselves. Their clients don't respect them. And ultimately, they are abused and not appropriately compensated for their talents. And I think it's so incredibly unfair. And I don't want this to be the case for you. So I was wanting to talk about that this week to kind of wrap the bow around the overarching concept of managing scope with the client, right-sizing it, and ultimately how do you prevent it from getting to that place with the new clients. If you have any questions about the nuance of a specific situation you have with a client, let me know. I'm absolutely happy to chat about it. I understand that there's always nuance, and how exactly do you have the conversation is so incredibly important. All right, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And if you have any questions on this at all, do me a favor and shoot me a DM.